Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The SNP are finally today bringing in the bill to exonerate all the sub-postmasters as a result of the Horizon IT scandal, the one where Fujitsu always maintained their system was perfect and didn't have any flaws, until it was discovered that it was not perfect, and it did indeed have lots of flaws, by which time it was too late. People had gone to prison. Some people had even ended their own lives. Well, the exoneration is going through, obviously, in England and Wales, thanks to the UK Parliament in Westminster. But in Scotland, things were a little bit more complex. Bain didn't want it to go through because it would reflect badly on her. And now they are finally doing it. But it is funny how that they've pushed this through only out of shame. Not the shame that they got it so badly wrong. They're never ashamed of that. No, the shame that Labour themselves were going to push a motion, and therefore it would have been a Labour motion that would have gone through, and thus taken a bit of the shine off the SNP, who are, after all, the virtuous ones who never make mistakes. So we'll take a look at this to see why the SNP are being so generous in bringing in a bill to pardon those people that they absolutely prosecuted wrongly. They're a bunch, aren't they? Anyway, here goes. So SNP to finally bring in a bill to pardon Horizon Post Office victims after years of knowing what they were doing. And this is only after a threat of being overshadowed by their Labour rivals. Labour said, if you don't bring it in, we will. It will be our bill. It will look good for us and bad for you. So they went, oh, no. And it was panic stations to get this blanket exoneration going. So MSPs at the Scottish Parliament are set to debate emergency legislation which would quash the convictions of Scots sub-postmasters, but the Scottish Government have been accused of passing the buck after delays in bringing it to Holyrood. So they're doing today is the first reading, and then they're rushing it through tomorrow for the second reading, then it goes off to the committee and then it comes back. It should be within 2-3 weeks, something like that. It's incredibly fast action to get a law pushed through, but they have said they'll do it, but not because they want to, not because they want to do the right thing, simply to stop Labour doing it. All the right jobs done, but for all the wrong reasons. The Scottish Government has been urged to set out a timetable for when Scots victims of the Horizon Post Office scandal will finally get justice, after taking months to introduce a bill to help them. It was claimed that SNP ministers only brought in the legislation after Scottish Labour threatened to publish their own. Can't blame them. And I hope that apart from actually just getting the exoneration, that there is ka-ching for these people and the families of those who've died. MSPs will get the chance to scrutinise the Post Office Horizon System Offences Scotland Bill, long name, small bill, on Tuesday as it's fast-tracked through Holyrood. However, it will not be fully implemented until after the UK Government pass their own. This is to allow sub-postmasters access to the UK-wide compensation scheme. So the compensation scheme is being set up by the UK government, which means everyone gets the money. That's right, yeah, now I remember. So the money will come from Westminster for the compensation, but the exoneration and clearing their names will come through the Scottish courts, thanks to this bill. So yes, it'll be a couple of weeks before it becomes law, but it won't be implemented until after. That's how it works. So, ever since the scandal came to public attention in January, thanks to the ITV show Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, I will also say Private Eye have been on this for years. The SNP have spent months complaining that Westminster did not include them in their bill. Well, that's because it wasn't Westminster who prosecuted them. Different legal system. You don't want Westminster interfering in your legal system, you say, and then moan when they don't. Can't have it both ways, boys. When Justice Secretary Angela Constance finally published the legislation this week, it was revealed that officials admitted that there were nuances in Scotland that would not have been covered by the UK government bill, including the use of crime embezzlement, which is not used which is not used in England. Nobody in England got prosecuted for embezzlement. It is a crime in England, but in the Post Office case, it was never done for embezzlement. And so therefore, if it was on the bill, it wouldn't have applied. It's a very complex way the law works. You can only forgive those crimes for which have been prosecuted. You can't give up for forgiveness for a crime that hasn't been prosecuted. And since the UK bill included embezzlement, and it's all very... It didn't include embezzlement, but it did in Scotland. So anyone done with embezzlement wouldn't have got freed. That's what I'm trying. But you wouldn't have got exonerated because it wasn't included in the UK bill. There we go. Simple as mud, isn't it? Anyway, simple as clear as mud. Anyway, the Nationalists have been accused of passing the buck for not dealing with the scandal in the months they've had to deal with it. And it is believed to be that about 100 sub-postmasters in Scotland were wrongly convicted. Some of these cases even happening after the Crown Office sought emergency talks with the Post Office about the reliability of the Horizon system. So they knew it was unreliable and they still prosecuted them. That's malicious prosecution. They deserve a lot more. MSPs are expected to vote unanimously on quashing down the convictions at stage 1 today, which will be debated on Tuesday. It probably has been already, in fact, looking at the time. And Scotland's Lord Advocate Dorothy Bain gave evidence last week where she suggested she did back the proposals after previously claiming they should be done on a case-by-case basis because she didn't want to look foolish and thought if I can get one of them, then it would have been right and I don't look like a complete twonk. Far too late for that, Bain. Scottish Labour also claimed that the government only brought forward the bill after the party vowed to put forward a proposal of its own. Justice spokeswoman Pauline McNeill said Scottish sub-postmasters have been left in limbo for far too long. It's only right that there is a proper scrutiny of the scandal and how justice is delivered in Scotland. As we know, there is no justice in Scotland. This should be the focus of the SNP, not finding ways to pass the buck for a scandal they have failed to deal with for years. And they'll do anything to pass the buck. They don't want to blame it, but there she is. Look at me, I'm important. But you're not. You don't know what you're doing. You haven't got a clue. Coming up. So there you go. It's going through. They'll get their compensation. Everyone gets exonerated. Everyone goes home happy, apart from all those who aren't. And that'll be all of them. The exoneration is meaningless. The money is meaningless to families who've lost loved ones. And that, sadly, is what's happened. Still, it goes to show that they can do the right thing, even if it is for the wrong reasons. For them, no sense of guilt, no sense of decency, no sense of honesty. Just the shame of having to do it because Labour might do it first. And they can't be seen to have made a complete pig's ear of it. Although, of course, they have. Anyway, get rid of Bain and life will be better. Make an independent judiciary and life will be better. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, and definitely leave a comment. And I will speak to you later. And don't forget, at some point, we're going to have the Leslie Roberts interviews with myself and first, and then Craig Houston after. Till then, goodbye.